Please continue. Anushree, please continue.
Sir, I think she's left the meeting.
Oh,
maybe she has network issues.
Rosmal, please continue.
Yes, sir. 1 minute. Sir, Anushree is sharing the screen. We have divided the parts just like that. Can you wait for a minute?
Hello, is it visible?
Yes, Anushree, please continue.
Okay. So first is the definition. According to Anastasia and Urbina, 1982, reliability refers to the consistency of scores obtained by the same person when they are re-examined with the same test on different occasions or with different sets of equivalent items or under other variable examining condition. So what is the meaning of reliability? Reliability refers to the precision or accuracy of the measurement of the scores. A reliability test is one that produces identical or at least highly similar results for an examinee from one occasion to the other. A test is said to be consistent over a given period of time when all the examinees retain their same relative ranks of two separate tests with the same test. And statistically, we can say the reliability is defined as the ratio of variation of the true score and the variation of observed score, or equivalently error score 1 minus the ratio of the variation of the error score and the variation of the observed score. Actually, we can say that in any psychological test, each individual score is made up of two types of scores, the true score and the error score. So the observed or the obtained score is equal to the summation of the true score and the error score. So what are the keywords for measuring the reliability? We have to know the concept of true score. What is true score? What is error score? What is error variance? And what is true variance? So the true score is the score which is free from error. The error that is occurring due to chance factor. And the error score, in the classical test theory, the difference between a person's observed measurement or score and his or her expected measurement or score. This is also called the residual score. And what is error variance? The error variance that usually indicates how much random fluctuation is expected within scores. The sum of all uncontrolled sources of variation that are likely to affect dependent variables. And what is the true variance? That is naturally occurring variability within or among research participants. So in case of any psychological test, we can find out the observed score or the observed variance, that is the summation of true variance and the error variance. So what is the reliability coefficient? The coefficient is the ratio of true score variance to the total variance of the test score. That means the reliability actually assesses the proportion of true variance of any psychological test. What does it mean by proportion of true variance? That is the how much variance is actually occurred among the total variance that we can observe from the test. That is the reliability. So the reliability deals with the accuracy of the test. So this is the formula. Rx is equal to sigma square t by sigma square x, where sigma square t indicates the variance in true score and the sigma square indicates the variances in the total score. And it is written or equivalently Rx is equal to sigma square t by sigma square t plus sigma e square, because you know the sigma square x, that is the observed score equal to the variance in the total score and the variance in the error score. So this is the summation. Clear? Hello? Hello.
When you give example, it will be more clear with example.
Okay. You have learned the Cronbach's alpha in the previous session. This is also one type of
Yeah.
reliability. This is also
Yeah.
one type of reliability. Actually, the reliability indicates the accuracy of the test. In any psychological test, we generally found the observed variance of the scores. But this observed variance is not the true variance. The observed variance is made up of true variance and the error variance also. So if you consider the types of reliability, you can understand there are several types of reliability, and we can classify the reliability in terms of reliability of in terms of external consistency and reliability in terms of internal consistency. So what is the in case of the internal consistency, in case of the external consistency, there are test-to-test reliability and parallel or equivalent forms. And in case of internal consistency, there is split up, Hooder-Richardson and Cronbach's alpha, and you have know about this Cronbach's alpha. Now we will learn about the reliability in terms of external consistency or stability. So what is that? The reliability in terms of stability refers to a measure of or test that is repeated on the same subjects at a future date. Results are correlated with the initial test to give a measure of stability. So stability, in case of the stability, we are finding out the stability of this particular test within a time gap. So it is also known as the temporal stability. In case of this external consistency, we are dealing with the external factors that may affect the reliability of the test. And in case of the internal consistency, we are dealing with the internal content, that is the items of the test. Because the test is made up of items, so this is the internal parts of the test. In case of the external consistency, we are dealing with the temporal stability of the test. So the first type is the test-retest reliability. This is the most frequently used method to find the reliability of a test by administering the test twice on the same sample with a reasonable time gap. Test-retest reliability measures the stability of scores between 2 points of time within the same participant. Reliability coefficient in test-retest reliability is the correlation between the scores obtained by the same persons on 2 administrations of the test. This is a time-consuming method, and error variance corresponds to the random fluctuations of performance from one test session to the other test session. The problem related to this test is the controversy about the interval between the 2 administrations. And the test-retest method is an appropriate method of estimating reliability of both speed test and power test. So in case of the test reliability, what we do generally, we administer a test. First, we administer a psychological test to a representative sample. Okay. First, we administer a psychological test to a representative sample. Then we administer the same test to the same sample under the same or similar conditions within a time gap, within a reasonable time gap. And the time gap should not be too long that it may affect the major changes may happen to the person or to the situations, and the time span should not be too short that the carryover effect or the practice effect can cause the changes or can hamper the test result. So we have to administer the same test on the same sample under the same or the similar conditions within a reasonable time gap. And then we have to compute the test-retest reliability by finding out the correlation coefficient between the scores of the test and the retest of the same sample. Clear? Hello?
Hello, Anindita. Can you tell me that is the test retest reliability in medical research?
Sir, I didn't understand your question, sir. Can you repeat again?
How doctors test, how doctors and nurses, they are applying the test retest reliability in patient care.
Very good question, sir. I'm not sure how.
No, if from your own understanding, you have wide experience. So for that reason, my question is that.
Okay. Can I take some time to think on it, sir? Because I'm not able to immediately answer.
No, so what is the test retest reliability is nothing. That is, you have to collect the data from the same
Yes.
sample
Yes.
twice.
Yes,
So
sir.
how doctors they are collecting the data from the same sample twice?
Are we talking about something along the lines of follow-up?
That is true.
Yes.
Very natural. Oh. Simple follow-up.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
This is
Now it is clear. Test retest reliability.
Yes, sir. It's clear,
Okay.
sir.
And if you find, if doctors finds that is okay, there is a follow-up result not satisfactory, what does it mean? Can anybody answer? If doctor
Maybe
finds,
the initial assessment was not the right one.
okay, any other?
Sir, it is showing the inconsistency in the responses. Blind.
Correct.
So this is
And especially in case of the clinical patient, psychiatric patient,
yes.
test retest reliability is very vital. Okay. And you have to follow the test retest reliability in case of the patient party also. That is also important. Okay. I think now you are okay to understand the test retest. Okay. Next, continue.
Yes, sir. Next one is alternate or parallel form. So it is also known as parallel forms, equivalent forms, and comparable forms reliability. Measures the consistency of results of two parallel forms of the same test constructed in the same way. The correlation between the scores obtained on the two forms represents the reliability coefficient of the test. They are useful in follow-up studies or in investigations of the effects of some intervening experimental factor on test performance. And it reduces the possibility of cheating. The biggest problem in parallel forms test is how to make both the forms equivalent in the true sense. If it is not equivalent, the reliability coefficient may not be based on true variances. So in case of the parallel forms, we can say that the two equivalent forms should be met. And that
So what do you mean by the equivalent forms?
Yes, and the test that is intended to measure same phenomena. The content must be the same, but the items will be different.
Not the item different, item position will be different.
Item position will be different. And these two instruments are administered to same sample in the similar conditions within a reasonable time gap, and the result obtained from one form are compared with those obtained from the other. So in order to assess the alternate forms, we have to develop two alternate or equivalent forms of the same tool consisting of similar but not same items. By taking care of contents and difficulty value, and the discrimination power should be same of those two forms, and the item positions should be different for both of these forms. And Then we have to administer one of the parallel forms of the research tool on a representative sample of the population, and then after a reasonable time gap, we have to administer the second equivalent form. And then we have to compute the correlation coefficient between the scores obtained from each of these equivalent forms in order to check the reliability. Is it clear?
Sir, is there any time gap required for this method?
No time gap. Maybe suppose you are interested to assess some clerical aptitude test, okay? And you have, that is the park bench, 3 people, they are sitting. Okay, and A, B, C, 3 forms are there. And maybe the number 1 item in case of the B is 100. And maybe the 100 number item for A in case of the B is 90, like that. So the numbers are there, but the position that will be changed.
Position of the items that would be
position
changed
of the item. Yeah, position of the item that will be different.
same items.
Same item. Item will be
Same
the
or
same.
similar items, and the positions will be different.
Okay, and time.
And the same difficulty value and discrimination power should be same also.
Yes, actually, I was asking about the time gap.
The time gap is not very.
No, time gap is not important here.
Is not
time
important
gap is
for
important
alternate
for
form.
the test retest reliability.
Yes, it is important for test retest.
Okay.
At
Because,
least 1 week
yeah.
interval.
Yes.
1 week interval. Okay.
For test retest.
Because in case of the test retest, we are doing the same test is administered to the sample. But in case of the alternate form, the test is not as same as that. It is similar.
Okay. Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Sure,
Yes.
sure.
So when we talk about the retest reliability, you just mentioned that we need to give a week's time so that the familiarity component does not affect the scores. I just want to understand, why is it particularly 1 week and why not any other number in that?
Good question. That is the basic assumption. That is when you will administer the test and you will not tell the subject, that is, I will administer the same test again.
Yes.
Okay, that is the most important part. And
Okay.
usually it appears that 1 week is sufficient for forgetting, because respondent is not aware that is the same test will be administered again.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Sir, I have a question.
Sure.
That these types of reliability, I think they would be differ according to the attribute. Suppose I think clerical aptitude and suppose the another element like emotional intelligence or any ability test. So these types of reliability, they will be
The
changed
test will be
according.
equivalent. For that reason, it is clearly written that his test should be equivalent. So one test that is measuring clerical aptitude, that is for A, B, C, 3 individuals same. But only the position is different. Okay. For example, when you are assessing the clerical aptitude, at that time you are not assessing the emotional intelligence or something. But that should not be. But so that is the point. Okay.
So we can use any type of reliability for
using
any.
this alternate form.
Okay.
And it is mainly used in case of the examination.
Alternate form. Okay.
Yeah. I have used alternate form at least on the, I think, more than 2000 students.
Okay. Sir, suppose there is a personality test. So what kind of reliability would be?
No, personality is different. Personality test is not the very good money, it's not the, that is 2000 students you are administering personality test. That is not the scientific approach.
Okay.
Okay, that is not the group test. You can you can select few people.
Yes.
After that, you can administer the personality test. That is the way. Okay. But for
Okay.
the clerical aptitude or something, or maybe the aptitude in psychological research, okay, that you can collect this data. We are usually following, in case of the GRF, in case of any examination, GRE, TRE, all those. In ISI, we are conducting examination throughout India, and we are following alternate form.
Okay, sir. Okay.
So this is natural. It is fortunate, but not the personality. Personality is something different.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
It is a common. I think it's common, this kind of examination in school leaving examination. I think like that.
Yeah, school leaving examination, you can apply alternate form.
This is the
In the bank examination, bank selection, you can take alternate form.
it is generally used for the power test actually.
Yeah. Okay, now it is clear to all of you. You go to the next one.
Yes, Rose, please continue.
Yes. So we are going to see reliability in terms of internal consistency here. So about internal consistency, this indicates the homogeneity of the test, which means if all the tests measure the same function or trait, then the test is said to be homogeneous one and the internal consistency will be high. Next.
Okay, for example, okay, one sec. For example, the test is state trait and anxiety inventory, Spielberger's. So you will find the state anxiety inventory, 20 items are there. Trait and anxiety inventory, also the 20 items there. And the first 10 items and the next 10 items, they are highly correlated with each other. Okay. That means the split up reliability is very high. Is it clear to all of you? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Clear, sir.
Okay, but if the test is measuring different things, for example, in case of the NEO, it is a multidimensional. Okay, so some items may be totally different from the rest of the other items, other half. Okay, therefore we should not use that one. But in case of this test that is unidimensional, that is single trait, it measures, then we can follow this split up technique. Okay. Now next.
Sir, I have to add something more to that part.
Sure.
Okay. So about the split half method, first what we do is we administer that to a large group of students, for example, and then we divide the test questions to two parts. That means, for example, like odd and even. Then we score the half of the test for each student. That means we divide that into two. The test is divided to two parts. Next. And we have learned Cronbach's coefficient alpha in the last session. That means the test, we do this test to see if multiple question scale surveys are reliable. That means it correlates each single item with other items. That means This Cronbach eliminates the items that do not correlate well. We have clearly seen that in the last session. And Cronbach's alpha is a measure of internal consistency. That means how closely it is related to a set of items as a group. We mainly check it there. And it is considered to be a measure of scale reliability. And also in the case of internal consistency, we can use Cooder-Richardson formula. It is Cooder and Richardson who did a series of researches. They mainly did this research to remove some of the difficulties of split half method. So what they did is they devised their own formulas for estimating internal consistency. So the Cooder-Richardson formula 20 and 21 have become very popular, but Cooder-Richardson formula 20 is a basic formula for computing reliability coefficient. So there are some underlying assumptions to use. That means the Cooder-Richardson formula is used when each item is having a right answer. We cannot use it with scales like Likert scales. That means Cooder can be used with some aptitude test, then power test, etc. But we cannot use it with attitude test or personality or interest scales.
Rose,
yes,
please. That will be the correct answer, not the right answer.
Okay, sir.
Correct answer.
Okay.
Okay.
And the Cooder-Richardson, Nanu, next,
Yes.
The Cooder-Richardson scores range from 0 to 1, where 0 is no reliability and 1 is called perfect reliability.
Not audible, not audible. You just get disconnected.
What happened? Hello, Rose.
Richardson. So here we can see what KR means. That means it is a Cooder-Richardson formula 20. K means it's a total number of test items. Summation, which means indicate to sum. And P means a proportion of the test takers who pass an item. Q means it is a proportion of test takers who fail in an item. And a sigma square is a variation of the entire test. So this is a formula we usually use for Cooder-Richardson. Next. About scorer reliability. Scorer reliability means it is a reliability when it is estimated by having a sample test. As an example, just take like we have a sample test and it is independently scored by. So we get two set of scores there. That means a score from one examiner and a score from another examiner. And the resulting correlation coefficient is known as scorer reliability. That means even if we are allowing the examiners to rate it, the kind of responses they give, that should come closer. So then only we'll get this correlation coefficient. And the source of error variance in Anu, previous one. Okay, so the scores of error variance and scorer reliability is interscorer differences. So when we explain more about scorer reliability, this scorer reliability is also an important factor when we look at the reliability of the test, which means this scorer reliability is meant how closely two more scores they agree in scoring or rating a number of set of responses. So if they do not agree, that means the reliability is likely to be lowered. Next. And we are going to see.
It is, I think, inter-data reliability, right?
Score reliability. Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Inter-data reliability.
inter-rater or scorer, yes.
And also scorer reliability can be told as reader reliability too.
Okay.
Now we are
Yes,
going
it
to
is
see
used in
more.
the projective tests mainly.
Okay. Now next.
Yeah. What are the factors that affect reliability? We have to give more attention to this part because reliability scores are influenced by a large number of factors. So this includes both extrinsic as well as intrinsic. So first we will look what are the extrinsic factors. So extrinsic means the factors that lie outside of the test. So this is if an influencing factor when it comes to reliable and unreliable. So as an example, there are several factors. One, variability in the range of ability of a group. That means in the case of group variability, the group of examinees should be, if they are tested on the based on their ability, that means if their ability is homogeneous, so that the reliability of the test scores is likely to be lower. But if with respect to their ability, so if it is heterogeneous one, then the test scores are more likely to be high. That is about variability in the range of ability of the group. Next one is environmental conditions, which means we can see when an examinee is given or when a person is given with some comfortable. That means this testing environment should be uniform in with respect to light, sound, and other conditions. That should be uniform. Otherwise, the test scores will be really disturbed if the person who is taking the test is not at all comfortable. So that is about environmental conditions. And next is about guessing by the examinee. Guessing in a test is an important source of unreliability because we are not allowed to make a guesswork on the test. Then it's about momentary fluctuations in the individual and the examinee too. That means momentary fluctuations, what we mean here is that as an example, take in the case of a broken pencil. If you are providing a test to some person and you are giving a pencil to do the test and the pencil is broken suddenly, so there causes a momentary distraction. Otherwise you can take the sound of an aeroplane flying above or anxiety that regards to a non-completion of their homework. If some persons might be having a lot of things to do in their home, or they might have skipped their homework, so they might be thinking about it. Some of the people they might be anxious about completing the test. So these are all the kind of momentary fluctuations that come in between. So these factors, when this interferes with the test, this affect the test scores.
Ma'am, would you please
Yes.
clear this one, variability in the range of ability of a group?
Okay. So just take a group of examinees, and if we are testing on based on their homogeneity of ability, so we know that individuals are having different kinds of abilities, right? So if the abilities of all individuals are alike, then we will not get a good test score, because in the case of getting a good test score, we need different kinds of people with different kinds of abilities. Is it clear?
Ma'am, it is related to homogeneity and heterogeneity, as I have understood
Yeah,
this.
because,
So if
sir,
there
can
is,
you contribute about?
What happened? Sorry, I.
Sir, about the variability, group variability in and extrinsic factors.
Variability in the range of ability of a group, environmental condition, guessing by the examinee, momentary fluctuations in the individual hand. It is okay. Then what
No,
is
sir.
it else?
About this variability, group variability, I have explained, but if you can give something more to that.
Variability.
Group variability, sir. Extrinsic
Because
factors.
the two things are important. That is the between group variance and the within group variance. Okay. So it depends upon that is what is your purpose. If you think that is the within group variance, that will be strong. That means that is more reliable. But if the between group variance is high, then it is not very reliable. So I am anxious, and another people is less anxious. And you will find that is anxious people, they are within group variance relatively low, but the between group variance, so that is the validity aspect also. But now here the important part is whether the data are reliable or not. That is whether the data are consistent or not. Reliability and validity, these two things are different.
Okay, sir, it may be related to heterogeneity and homogeneity of the group or sample.
Now, if the group is heterogeneous, then the reliability will be low.
Okay.
But if the group of people, they are homogeneous, so you can expect that is the within group variability will be less. So they have the common perception. For example, you are interested to assess the trait anxiety questionnaire, or you are interested to assess the depression, some instrument for measuring depression. So you have to collect the data from the people who are depressed. If you collect the data from the non-depressed, then what will happen? The non-depressed people, they cannot understand what you are writing there.
Yes.
So usually they will say, no, it may not be applicable for them. So for that reason, the homogeneity is important. But homogeneity in this aspect, that is whether this particular phenomena or phenomenon that is within this population or not. For example, specifically in case of the depression, that is the helplessness. So helplessness is very common phenomena in case of the depression. But helplessness is not the important phenomena in case of the general population. Because the general population, they have the resilient power, so they can manage this helplessness issue. But these depressed patients, they do not have the resilience power, so they are suffering from learned helplessness like that. So you have to think about that is the helplessness. So this particular variable that is within the patient of depressive disorder. Okay, so that means this particular phenomena is applicable.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, anything more?
I'll
Hello, anything more?
Yes, sir.
Your voice is breaking.
Okay, sir. 1 minute. And let's see these examples here of intrinsic factors. They are characteristics of items, range of total scores, length of the test, homogeneity of items, difficulty value of items, discrimination value, and score reliability. So let's take some of the examples here. In the case of length of the test, which means we don't really prefer a very long test because the test taker might be bored of taking a very long test. A medium long test are preferred so that the reliability coefficient can be more, it can be high. Then about the homogeneity of the items. Homogeneity of items means it is the concept that says that the item should measure what it is intended, what it is intended to measure. If the item is not measuring what it is supposed to, the test scores will be affected. And about a discrimination value, when the test is
No,
composed
Rose, one sec. Homogeneity of items. I think
Yes.
you have some idea about the Rorschach test. Okay, so the Rorschach diagnostic test has 10 cards, and these first 5 cards and the last 5 cards, the correlation between these two sets of cards is very high. So why? Because the homogeneity of the items.
Yeah.
Okay, so it is not the intent to measure something, but because that is related to the validity. So reliability and validity is totally different. We must be very much sincere about this. In case of the reliability, consistency is the factor. We have to think about the items are consistent or not. Okay, so for example, one patient suffering from high level of depression, and you are asked to collect data through the Rorschach test, then it may not be possible for you to collect that is through the Rorschach test range from 6 to 10. So, but you have the data about the Rorschach response from 1 to 5. So based upon this 1 to 5, at least you can say maybe the patient may have the similar type of response in case of the 6 to 10. Okay, so that is the main thing in case of the Rorschach test. Again, if you think that is in the Rorschach test, you will find that is some cards are achromatic and some cards are chromatic. Okay, so the chromatic type of response and the achromatic type of response are different. But you will find that is from the first 5, you will find same number of chromatic cards and same number of chromatic cards from 6 to 10 also. So these two things are very important in case of the homogeneity of items. Homogeneity of items is very common in case of the state and trait anxiety inventory. Because most of the time I give this example because the reliability level of the state anxiety and trait and anxiety inventory is very high. Therefore, I usually follow this. Okay. And when the test is measuring some multidimensional properties, that means each dimension, the items of each dimension that basically the homogeneous in nature. Okay.
So, yes, sir. Here is the slide.
Length of the test. Length of the test. Is there fixed number of items? Or how do we know that?
Roman, your question was not clear.
Yeah, length of the test. Also intrinsic factor, is that not? Length of the test.
Length of the test, you mean?
Yeah.
So are you asking length of the test is important or not?
No. Length of the test means is there a fixed number of tests? So if there is no, how do we determine, the length?
How do we determine the length of the test?
Yeah,
is it like that?
Yeah.
No, for that reason, there are different type of statistical techniques are there. The one important area that is we can reduce the length of the test by using the item total correlation. and we can test the reliability also. We can do the factor analysis. We can do the confirmatory factor analysis also. So there are different techniques. My student, Dr. Sumana Datto, she published one research paper that was published in Psychological Studies. That is, how do you reduce the number of items of the home environment? And she has proved it. So that is different issue. So that for that reason, you have to know the multivariate statistics. Okay, Roman, that is totally different issue. But here we are not talking about the multivariate because students are not very much aware of this issue. So we are considering only the univariate and the bivariate. Okay. If you want to reduce the item, so you have to do the PCA, principal component analysis. So when you learn the advanced level of applied psychometrics, at that time you will understand how to reduce the number of items.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you.
So anything more?
No, sir.
Okay. So now, any question from any part, anyone? Ashna, any question? Okay, so may I go to the art script? Okay, so I am going to the art script. Now I am showing you how okay, so this is the data. I am showing you the data.
So we can't see your screen.
Oh, sorry. Thank you for telling me. Okay, I think this is the Ravindric value questionnaire, and you have already filled up because that data is a ranking data. But here I am, my student Juhi, she has collected from 30 individuals, 30 college students. So that is the data structure. Okay. So if I write down, so you will get that is this 14 variables are there. So 14 values are there and 30 observations are there. And you will find that is all the data are basically rating data. Okay. So that is the first set of data. And next set of data is okay, the same number of data, same variables. The data were collected twice. Okay.
Sir, what is this dot here?
What is the dot?
Suppose if I talk about self-awakening, so I'm seeing here the data 5535554.
Yeah, that is a rating.
Okay, rating.
Yeah, so 14 variables are there now. So dot means more variables are there.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Now, what is my intention? My intention is to find out the correlation between this set, okay, Juhi 1 with the Juhi 2. Okay, is it clear? So that is the test-retest reliability.
Okay, we
For
are using.
example, there is one variable that is the cleanliness. So in case of the Juhi 1, you will find the cleanliness, and in case of the Juhi 2, again you will find the cleanliness. So what is the correlation between the two? This is the value questionnaire. So that is the correlation, 0.93. Okay. And I can test it. So it is highly significant. Okay. Now, I want to show you the regression line between these two. That is a best fit line between these two. What I can do, I can write Juhi dot clean dot lm equal to lm, then bracket Juhi $1 cleanliness, and then tilde Juhi $2 cleanliness. Okay. So I get this data. Then I have to make the plot. For the plot, instead of tilde, I can write down plot. Okay. Instead of tilde, I can put the comma and then plot. So now this is the data. Okay. Now if I write down abline, then what I have written Juhi clean.lm. Okay, so that is the best fit line. Is it clear, Anindita? Have you
Yes,
seen
sir.
this data?
Yes, sir.
Now you will find, since is the correlation between the two is 0.93. So you will find that is the most of the variables, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? 5 scores are within the best fit line. Okay. Now the distance between the best fit line and this score, that is the least square. But the least square level is very low in case of this variable, because they are on the best fit line. Okay. But particularly this variable, that is far away from the best fit line. Is it clear or any question?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you will find that is the sum of the items. Some green items are there. So cleanliness 1 and cleanliness 2. So if I write down abline, okay, so you will find that is the correlation is very high. For that reason, regression line is this. Now, if I want to find out that is other variable, for example, instead of the clean, I can use some other variable. I can use self-awakening. I can do one thing. I can reduce the partition. Okay, now I can do I can write plot. Okay, and this will be the comma. So that is the plot. Okay. Now I can write down abline bracket Juhi okay. Again, I can show you another data so that you can compare the two. That is the cleanliness issue. So now you can find out the difference between two correlation coefficient. Since the correlation coefficient is low, therefore the intercept starts from here. So that is the intercept. Okay. And you will find that is the only one score that is on the best fit line. So what is the correlation? We can assess the correlation. COR dot test. So code.test is the function. And the first set of data self-awakening. And the second set of data self-awakening. So I find the correlation is 0.65. Again, that is significant. Okay. Is it clear to all of you? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this is the intercept or the origin. Okay, from where the regression line starts. Or you can say the best fit line. So now if you want to get the total data set, then you can do juhi.bind equal to C bind. Okay, so all the columns that will be I can write down juhi 1 bind. And if I write down juhi 2 bind, and the C bind is juhi 2. Then if I write down score, correlation of two sets. One is juhi 1 bind, another one juhi 2 bind. So I will get the correlation matrix. Okay. So you will get the total correlation. Now we can find out the self-awakening 1 and self-awakening 2, 0.65. Emotional control is 0.58. Systematic is 0.77. Like that, you will find the correlation statistics. Okay, of the two sets of variables. Since the data were collected from the college population, we can find out that is which value is more consistent over the periods. For example, the cleanliness. This particular value over the periods that is more consistent, and also some other variable that is RWFC. Nishkam principle also the same. 0.85, another one challenging. So now you can find out that is the college students value, Ravindric value preference, and which value is more stable over the time. I think she collected data 1 month interval. Okay, so that is retest reliability. Last time I have shown the Cronbach alpha by using environmental awareness questionnaire, and today I am showing you the retest reliability. Is it clear to all of you? Hello.
Clear, sir.
Sir, what is the total score here? Total score.
Total score of what?
Reliability.
So that is the item reliabilities, because it measured self-awakening. Again, it measured self-awakening. Self-awakening and emotional control, the correlation is low.
No, sir. Correlation, a total correlation score would
But
be
only
there.
that is the self-awakening, another self-awakening. Because here the purpose is to assess the reliability, test-retest reliability. Okay, so 14, maybe the 14 items are there, and these 14 items, at least the result shows that is these 14 items, they are not very much interrelated in case of the college students. Okay, so if I can collect this data from the adult population, possibly I can find out the high correlation. Because one of my students, she collected data from the government organization and found a high reliability. But since it is a college student, so we can think about the self-awakening 1 versus self-awakening 2, like that. Okay. So you can assess, that is whether the particular value, which value is more stable over the periods. So that can be assessed by this analysis, by the test-retest reliability. Okay. Now, any question?
So can we say the total reliability is weak, or each atom's reliability is weak? How can we conclude?
No, reliability is very high, not the weak. It is 0.65. Next one is 0.58, another one 0.78, another one 0.70, like that. So reliability is not weak.
Sir, this analysis is
This
about.
is not the Cronbach's alpha. This is the test-retest reliability. Please, you do not take it different way.
Okay, sir.
If it is a test-retest reliability, if you want to find out that Cronbach's alpha, I can show you what is the reliability. I can show you. That is different issue. Interpretation again will vary. Okay, it is 0.54. So moderate level of reliability, not very high. Second time, reliability is high, 0.65. Okay. Because they are the college students, no? So they are very fluctuating. However, the thing is that is not my purpose. Cronbach's alpha is not my purpose. For the Cronbach's alpha, I think more number of data also required. But this is a test retest reliability. More number of data not required. 30 data fine. Okay. That means you can assess the which Rabindric value is more stable. In the college students. Okay. So now I want to conclude. Mona Lisa, please start the prayer.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnadaya Purnamedavasishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Thank you, Mona Lisa. Now I am requesting all of you, please open your video so that we can take one photo. Okay, so same sample and the data also same. Okay, that is the test retest reliability. Ashna, thank you for your joining, but I cannot see you. Roman, please you open your video. Mona Lisa, please open your video.
Yes, sir.
Onusri 2 times, na? Okay. Roman, Ashna, are you here, Ashna? Okay, I'm taking the photo. I have to check. Yeah, it's okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.